machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Ich wollte gerade sagen, das war's doch noch nicht.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Und damit herzlich willkommen zurück zu einer weiteren Folge The Stanley Parabel. Das war nicht mein Ende oder unser Ende, das war doch großartig.
Ich glaube, ich möchte das Wort mal eben wegnehmen und einfach sagen, er weiß nichts.
Das sieht mir doch aber nach dem Abspann aus hier und rein in den Abspann.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Sind das unsere Credits? Ist das geil oder ist das geil, ey? Ich finde das so geil.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Ich möchte damit sagen, das ist der Abspann. Dieser gesamte Raum ist dein Abspann.
Ohne Scheiß, das sind die Credits?
Ja.
Geil. Die Nature Paintings, die wir gesehen haben. Das Blatt, das haben wir leider nicht gesehen. Also ich habe, oder? Die haben wir uns angeguckt hier. Geil, ist das schön. Das ist lieb. Das ist total lieb. Das finde ich ist ein schönes Dankeschön an... Nein, noch nicht. Dankeschön an alle, die mitgemacht haben. Das Office Layout.
Also im Grunde genommen ist das hier gerade der Weg bis zu den 2 Türen, wo sich der Weg aufsplittet.
Wo ging's denn los?
Aber um euch mal bewusst zu machen, das waren vielleicht 5%, naja, ich würde vielleicht sagen 15% des Spiels.
Wir machen es nochmal. Wir spielen das auf jeden Fall nochmal. Also
wir spielen es nicht nochmal.
Ich spiele das auf jeden Fall nochmal.
Nein,
aber nicht heute.
Du verstehst das falsch. Wir spielen das nicht nochmal. Wir werden einen neuen Weg erleben.
Ja.
Weil du wirst dieses Spiel nicht so nochmal spielen, wie du es jetzt gerade gespielt hast.
Ist das immer random? Wird das immer auf
Jede Entscheidung
Okay, ich muss hier schnell durch, wir müssen nochmal anfangen.
führt dazu zu einem neuen Ende.
Geil. Wir müssen das nochmal anfangen. Filling Cabinets. Office Computers.
Die müssen alle aus sein, Mensch. Das gibt's doch wohl nicht. Keine Sau ist da und am Arbeiten, aber hier läuft Strom. Na sag mal, du auch. Na, aber ich sagte, ich hab gesagt, ihr sollt ausgehen.
So. Ein interaktives Button-Sounds. Ich habe gar nicht so viele Buttons gedrückt. Ein interaktives Layout. Geil, geil. Schön. Schön. Wirklich schön. Großartig. Ich lobe und preise dieses Spiel jetzt so hoch an. Ladet, also was heißt ladet das euch runter? Holt euch das. Spielt das mal. Das ist wirklich, wirklich schön. Erfahrt eure eigenen Wege. Und wenn ihr das nicht wollt, sondern lieber zusehen wollt, wie andere das machen, dann schaltet doch gerne wieder ein wenn es wieder heißt, wie heißt das Spiel? The Stanley Parabel. Dankeschön fürs Zugucken. Bis dann. Tschüss. Ja. Also an der Stelle danke fürs Wiedereinschalten und viel Spaß bei der zusammengeführten Folge. Der Movie Maker hat mich hier so ein bisschen verarschen wollen und daher musste ich die Entscheidung des Zusammenführens wählen. Ich hoffe, ihr habt trotzdem Spaß und seid jetzt nicht irgendwie pieselig oder pipi in den Augen. Von daher, hier geht's weiter.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Ja, also das hatten wir ja schon, Broom Closet hatten wir schon, brauchen wir nicht.
Die Entscheidung hoch oder runter. Na
Coming
dann.
to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ich gebe in den nächsten Minuten keinen Kommentar von mir, so wie auch Dave wahrscheinlich. Wir müssen das erleben.
Nee, da ziehe ich das Mikro zu mir. Ich erlebe das mit.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Bist du auch okay, Nikita?
Wir sind alle okay, oder?
Ich bin auch okay.
Wir leben alle unser Leben.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane.
Ja, da ist er tot. Es tut mir leid, dass wir natürlich das jetzt hier alles so zusammengeschnitten haben. Ich hoffe, ihr hattet trotzdem Spaß und wir sehen uns hoffentlich auch beim nächsten Mal, wenn es wieder heißt The Stanley Parable. The Stanley Parable. Bis dann. Ciao.